Welcome back to the channel. This is going to be part 10 of the Mark II 1.8T build, and in this video we're going to be installing the boost pressure sensor, your non-AC serpentine belt. Next we're going to be installing the radiator. Next we're going to be installing the slave cylinder line to the master cylinder. Next we're going to be installing the hoses to hook up all the cooling. And lastly we're going to be hooking up the fan. I think that's it. Let's get started. Okay, so let's start with the radiator. There's a ton of different radiators that people use. I was going to use just the stock Mark II one that comes with the car, but then I got a really good deal on the Mark I aluminum one, and so I'm going to be using that one. Those are the most common ones I think people use, Mark II, just a stock one, and a Mark I. But with the Mark II one, it does obviously take up a lot more room, and you do have to do some modifications I'll show you now. So if you're going with the Mark II radiator, as you can see, it's going to be a lot longer than the Mark I radiator that I'm going to be going with. The only thing is you might have to do a little bit of modification down here with the Mark II one because it comes out so far. You might have to weld a little tab to bring it out to here. Either way, whatever one you choose to use, they both will work. So let's move on to hoses. So depending on if you're using a Mark I or Mark II, there's going to be about the same hoses. The Mark II one, being over here, going to have some longer hoses. The bottom of the radiator goes to the thermostat housing. The top one's going to be routed under here to the coolant flange. And then from the coolant flange, you're going to be going to your heater core. And then on the bottom, you have a metal water pipe that goes around the engine. And on the end of that, that's the other hose that goes up to your heater core. So the 1.8T is from a Mark IV car, which has the coolant bottle usually over here, which these hoses, hook up perfectly for. Being in a Mark II car, I wanted to keep my coolant bottle over there. So I had to do a little bit different routing over here. And mine being automatic, I had to do some really funky stuff, which if it doesn't work out, I will be changing all of that. But for now, this is what I'm going to be staying with. I just want to do a little overview because it's going to depend on, what radiator and what you guys wanted to do. I'm not happy. I'm not 100% happy with what I have here, but, I'm going to be trying it out. If I have, air pockets or it's not cooling properly, then I'll reroute some of these. Next thing you're going to need is your boost pressure sensor. This is the sensor that you're going to have and you're going to be putting into your intercooler piping. There's two ways you can do that. You can buy this little adapter piece, have someone weld it on to your intercooler piping, and then you can put the sensor in like that. The other option is just to buy the pipe already with the adapter in there. If you're looking at the 1.8T engine, the sensor plug-in is going to be over here. It usually goes down to where the intercooler is on the Mark IV 1.8T. I'm going to have mine somehow routed right here with the pipe coming down here. It's just going to be plugged in right here. Next, we're going to be moving on to the serpentine belt. So this is the part number for the serpentine belt that you need if you have a non-AC 1.8T. So if you've deleted the AC, this is the serpentine belt that you need right here. Moving on to the slave cylinder and your master cylinder, we need a line going from your master down to your slave. On my 24 valve, you can see this is what the stock one kind of looks like. On this car, I'm going to be going with a braided line going from the master to the slave. I drove a car with a braided line instead of the stock one, and the clutch feel just felt way better. So all I'm going to be doing is taking the line, screwing it into the master cylinder up here, down to the slave cylinder. Okay, next is your fans. If you're using a Mark II radiator, I'd probably use 2 fans like I did on my 24 valve. For the Mark I, I'm just going to be using 1 big fan, and I'm going to be putting it here, so it's going to be pushing air into my radiator to my engine. And I've already done an install video of your wiring and the fans on my 24 valve, which I'll link. So using that video that me and Jeremy did, I think you guys have enough information that you can hook up your stock harness to your slim fans. And I'm going to be doing the same thing here, just cutting these wires and hooking them up to my fan. Okay, so just like that video, I got 2 wires and I found out which one's ground and which one's power, which one pushes the air instead of pulls. You know, you want it to push just like that video. So I put 2 wires on it like me and Jeremy did in the video, found out which one's which, and this little diagram right here will show you the high and low wire. So I want mine to come on the lowest temperature, and the fan's gonna come on so it pretty much never gets too hot or never gets hot. So I put mine together, wrapped them up, and yeah, good to go with the wiring. I'm gonna test all this out, make sure it works, gets up to temperature, and the fan turns on and everything, just in case I did something wrong. So I won't be putting on the front end when I first test drive this car. That's gonna be it for this video, guys. I know there's a lot of stuff thrown into this video, but it's a lot of little stuff here and there. It's not anything big like we have been doing in the past. So again, hopefully this helps somebody. I'm tired, I'm cold. I'll see you guys next video.